So last night, I think it was last night, life just flies by. I think it's when I saw the report that Josh Doxson's already had some sort of MRI. I guess it came back negative. They didn't find anything structurally wrong with him, but just leads me to believe that, well, he doesn't feel right. Obviously, something's not right if they're doing this sort of exploratory thing. This obviously doesn't bode well. It reminds me of, I don't know, was it 2 seasons ago when he had an issue? They kept imaging it. They couldn't really find anything, but he wasn't right. Are we heading down this highway again, God forbid?
I don't know, and I think that's a fair question because you're right. I mean, and I was told, it's precautionary, but you're only doing a precautionary thing when somebody has something they're dealing with.
Right.
And just to rule things out or to make sure that it's not something going on, I was told they think he'll be okay, but I think when you have this, then you just have to sit there and wonder, and just see how it plays out in camp. Because I don't know if we're going down that road because a couple of years ago you didn't know about that road either, and you kind of hit a point after several weeks where you realize this is something that's going to be lingering for a long time. And little by little, you started to get more information on what it really was. I don't know that we're at that point because that was, I don't think we're at that point because it's just too early, and we don't know more enough about with it and what precipitated. So once we start to get more of that information, then I think we'll have a clearer picture of that. But it would certainly be. I mean, I don't blame Redskins fans for crossing their fingers on this one.
Right.
Where has he been working out before he came to town for camp?
That I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he was in town or not in town. I know that there were a couple days in the spring where he if I recall right, that he had a little bit of a either like an ankle issue one time or something like that. And so, but I don't know if he's been in town, out of town, or what. But so I don't know.
Let me ask you this, because my timeline immediately blew up with, let's just be done with it. Everyone's sick of it. Let's just sign Dez.
But he said he wants to be with a contender.
Right. Is that he also wants to be in the NFC East though, right? He wants to play the Cowboys twice.
And that's not going to happen at this time. So and I think if there was like a serious concern about Doxson, then maybe you go out and do that. They're not there yet. So I think that tells you something because Doxson is their ex-receiver. Des Bryant played the ex-receiver all those years in Dallas. So if he comes here and if he was going to start, that's where he's going to play. I don't. That's not right now. That does not appear to be an option for them.
Mm-hmm. Remind us of the depth chart because Ryan Grant is no longer here. So we all know Richardson and Doxson are the 1-2, and Crowder's your slot receiver. He's the third receiver.
Correct.
Who's behind them?
That I think that's a good question because I think that's a harder question to answer. Because you have Brian Quick, veteran, and then you have Robert Davis, draft pick, Maurice Harris. Then you have Trey Quinn, who mostly a slot, but they may work him at other areas. But I think primarily a slot receiver. So I think those are the guys that you really want to watch. And you have some guys like a Keim Sims, or undrafted free agent types that could make some noise and maybe get on the practice squad, something like that. But yeah, I think after the first three, it'll be a little bit interesting to see how it falls because a lot of it depends on how a guy like Robert Davis develops. He's got size. He has some speed. They felt he was a raw receiver last year. Does he take that quote-unquote next step? Brian Quick's the veteran. Trey Quinn's a rookie. I mean, Trey Quinn, he's the last pick in the draft, and there are a lot of people who like him, and he looked good in the spring, but let's see what he does in camp when you get pads on the game start. So I think that, to me, will be an interesting part of camp to watch, how that unfolds.
Do you like that depth chart, or would you like to see a little bit more experience beyond the top three?
Oh, I think you'd like something a little bit more settled, right? Or if it's unsettled, maybe a clear picture of who these guys might be. Excuse me, Rob, again, but where is he headed? Don't know. And so Brian Quick is a veteran, but he's kind of become who he is. So I think you'd like somebody there where it's like, okay, you can see more of who they are or who they're going to become. And, I like what Davis might become. I like what Trey Quinn might become, but we don't know if they're going to get there, or when. So, yeah, I think you'd probably like to see another player who's a little bit more solidified in a certain role. Or, because here's the other thing. That new kickoff rule means that you're going to have smaller guys on kick coverage, for example. So that means, your last receiver, more guys at the skill positions will have to contribute on special teams. So is there that guy there who can help you in that area? I think that'll be something to watch as well.